Welcome, welcome. Fun to see everybody joining us on a Tuesday morning slash afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here. As you guys are joining, why don't you put in the chat? Tell us where you're joining us from. It's always fun to see people from around the country, all coming together on Zoom. Why is technology still so amazing? I don't know. It's awesome. I feel like some of my best friends live clear across the country, so so fun to have you here. Milwaukee, awesome. Delaware, Ontario. See, we've got even Canadians here with us across the country and another country. So fun. Our Utah friends. Yay. New York, Arizona, Destin. Krista, I was going to ask you, how did you guys do with Helene and Milton? Were you in your area? Oh, she's on mute.
Thankfully, we were saved from both of those. So we had minimal wind and rain with Helene. It was powerful, although it was in spurts and minimal. And then with Milton, we had pretty strong winds the day that it made landfall, but thankfully it was all good here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Anybody else have any damages or anything done with Helene or Milton, any of the hurricanes? Just know we are praying for you all, for everyone who's going through that. It's devastating to have big losses like that and so much work. So lots of prayer, sending our love to you guys. This is so fun. I'm so excited. Emily asked me to host our spotlight series for today. So I am thrilled to be able to get to jump on here and be the host for today. So welcome everyone. My name's Angie Snow. I'm with Service Titan and it is so fun to be with you all today. Thank you for taking some time. I know time is precious, especially in what you do every day. So taking an hour out of your day to be together is awesome. And I think you're really going to enjoy what we have in store for you today. We've got one of my favorite speakers, Tatiana. And Tatiana, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'll let you say your last name because I don't want to do that to you.
Tatiana Iono. I tell people it's like, I don't know, I don't know. So you know how to say it. I barely know how to say it. It's fine. It's fine.
Tatiana Ayano. And Tatiana is with us today from Power Selling Pros, who is our sponsor for our Spotlight series. We're so grateful for them and for their sponsorship and the great partner that they are. So if you guys have not heard of Power Selling Pros, they're an amazing company. They do awesome CSR training, as well as customer experience training for your technicians, your office team. They're great. So as it looks like we've got a few people still in the waiting room trying to get everybody in here. But thank you guys for putting in the chat where you're joining us from today. We're super glad to have you here. And before I toss it over to Tatiana, let's get 2 or 3 people, share with us some good news that you've had, something good that's been happening this week. Anybody got some great news that you want to share with us? Something fun, awesome. It can be personal, professional. We're here to celebrate each other.
I only have one more certified user to do to have all of them done that are out so far. I just have to get through construction.
Oh my gosh, congratulations, Jess. That is so awesome. That's so cool.
That's great, Jess. I just hopped in, so I'm kind of late. What were you asking?
I just asked, we're sharing a little bit of good news before we turn it over to our speaker. So if you've got any good news, it can be personal, professional.
I just survived Hurricane Milton.
Okay, we do have a survivor here.
That's huge.
That's a win, Sheena.
And like the eye went right over us here in Siesta Key, Sarasota, Florida. I'm on the coastline here on the west side. So gosh, so many family members and businesses are just like non-existent anymore. It's so crazy. We just had power restored couple nights ago. I'm just grateful. So that's a huge win.
That is a really huge win. And we were just saying, you know, just our thoughts and prayers are going to everyone in that part of the country that was affected. So I'm glad to hear that you've got your power back up, and what a scary, scary thing. Okay, well, it looks like Kim said yesterday was Canadian Thanksgiving, and that is amazing. So happy Thanksgiving in Canada, everyone. Let's see. Marissa has SHRM books. Okay, tell me what this is, Marissa. I don't know what SHRM is. Maybe if Marissa can come off of mute. Maybe not, but congratulations on whatever that is. That's any type of certifications, anything you can do to continue learning and growing and developing is amazing. So congratulations. I love this. I love Society of Human Resource Management. There you go. See, Jessica knows. Very cool. That's great. Okay, awesome. She did confirm Society of HR. Awesome. Well, congratulations on all your successes. We hope you guys we love to celebrate with you as you're growing professionally and personally. And today we have such a great speaker. As I said before, we have got the amazing Tatiana Tauauvea. I hope I said that right now. And she has got over 15 years of customer service experience. And right now, Tatiana is on a mission to boldly go where no customer service has ever gone before. And I love that. She's mentored and trained hundreds of service representatives from all across the country, all across the globe. And she has been turning ordinary encounters into memorable moments. She's going to hopefully teach us a little bit about Power Selling Pro's transformative tool, the Pattern of Excellence, today. And she is a coach with Power Selling Pros, who's our wonderful sponsor for this series. And they are a great organization, as I said, that they help businesses boost their bottom line with customer satisfaction, loyalty. And she's just really dedicated to helping us learn how to make unforgettable experiences with our customers. So we're excited to have you join us. Thank you so much. We're going to turn the time over to you and look forward to learning from you today.
Thank you so much, Angie. It's nice to see you again. And I'm so excited to be here because I've been hearing about Lady Titans forever. And I am so honored to have a chance to work with you guys. And how cool is the name Lady Titans? I can't get over it. That's so awesome. Trying to keep my language appropriate. I'm like, that's so cool. That's so cool. So I'm happy to be here. And I'm excited to introduce the Pattern for Excellence as well, if this is anyone's first introduction to Power Selling Pros. And I'm going to tell you about me. This is definitely the hope for today, is to make it a brainstorming session. And so as we go, I really want to encourage everyone to think of examples. And with the time we have, we'll try to get through as many as we can. I also encourage you to hop in and share an input to what you would say in certain situations as they come up. One thing I love about what I do is that I get to learn just as much as hopefully other people do, because you guys think of things that I wouldn't think of, and we can just brainstorm and find the best ways to communicate together. The topic today is saying yes, even when you feel like you have to say no. So that's what I want you to be thinking about, are times when you've said no to your customer. I mean, we could look at this in any aspect, truly, but times when you feel obligated to say no, and how could we turn that into a yes so we can create more positive experiences. And I want to share a little about why I chose this topic. When I was asked to do this, it was the very first thought that came to my mind. And the reason is, I like to call it, so we've got 8 principles in our Pattern for Excellence. I'm going to show you guys my little, this is as technical as I'm getting today, I think. This is our Pattern for Excellence. There are 8 principles on our Pattern for Excellence. That's what was created by Brigham Dickinson. And the yes principle is the one that I like to call my conversion principle. Okay, hang in there with me, because I'll tell you what I mean by that. When I first started at Power Selling Pros, there was so much talk about how it's more than customer service, right? Like, we're teaching lifestyles. We're talking to people and to human, and we're trying to bring humanity back into our calls. And as a brand new coach, I was like, cool, like, yeah, let's do it, you know, but it hadn't really resonated with me how everything we taught applied to my everyday life. And so I just went about it. I learned the coaching aspects of it, and I was just, you know, trying to be my best as a coach without really ever having that true conversion for myself. And so I'll never forget. And it's always the marital examples. You know what I mean? I mean, these guys, they're just so funny. So my husband, bless his soul, he's a great guy. And I tell him one day, I ask him if he wants to go to the park with my family on Sunday. Right. And that's like a pretty normal standard conversation. And I'll never forget the response, because he could not have looked more annoyed. And he just goes, no. And I was like, ow, like that was not very nice. That was mean. And if I'm being totally honest, the first thoughts that came to my head were, oh my gosh, he hates my family. He doesn't want to be around us. He doesn't like me. Like he's unhappy. Like this marriage is failing. Those are the thoughts I was having, because I am just so dramatic. And I was immediately in a bad mood. I go back into my room and I'm contemplating life, because I could not believe how unhappy my husband was based on that one response. And I'm sitting there and I ask myself, because I know him and I know his intent, and I also know that he's not the best communicator. Love that for him. And as I'm thinking about it, I ask myself, why would he say something like that? Right? Like, what could be his perspective? And as I think a little bit more about it, and I think about our lives at the time, this had to have been right when I first started with Power Selling Pros, which was about 5 years ago. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm realizing I'm working 2 jobs at the time. A full-time coach. I'm also working in the ER as a registration specialist. At that point, 12 hours. My shifts were 12 hours long, and I would work weekends. I'd try to get shifts at night. He was working in the OR, so his hours were all whack and all out of order. We were doing everything we could to be able to spend as much time with our kids as possible. We have 2 kids. And as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, what could this mean, that he just really doesn't want to spend time with my family? And so I decide, let's just go ask him. All right, let's just go see, because I didn't even get that far before I started making up all these things in my mind. So I go out there and I tell him, can you just tell me why? Why is it so hard to go hang out with my family and I on the weekend? And he says, I just want to spend time with my family. And I was like, oh, okay. So you don't hate my family. It's that you want to spend time with your family, right? And not even his extended family. It was just us 4. That's what he wanted. And then, of course, it's a lot easier. I'm almost convinced that if this had been me, if our roles were reversed, if I had been the one who misspoke or maybe wasn't the best at communicating, I would have never had this aha moment, because it's a lot easier to think about what he should be saying differently than what I should be saying differently. So in the moment, I realize how different those two phrases are. Oh, no, compared to, I want to spend time with our family. Can we do that? And I was like, wow, that is so different. And I know that that was his intent. I know that's what he meant. I know that he's not always the best communicator, but it helped me really understand how powerful our words are, and how important it is, if we want to have positive results, to use progressive language. So the principle I thought of right away was that yes principle, because we focus on saying yes even when we want to say no. So that's a personal example, but let me give you an example in the workplace of when I hear this a lot. All right, I had a girl call in once to one of the companies I was working with, and she said to the CSR, do you have any availability today? Right? Simple question. Do you have anything today? I'm sure you've all heard that question before. And the CSR's response was, so I do, but it's after hours. It is going to be more expensive. All right. Does that sound like good news or bad news? Yeah. Thumbs down. I agree, Vicky. We're right there with you. Major thumbs down. You're not excited for what I'm about to say, right? I just highlighted all the negatives of the current situation. And yet I just said yes. I said yes, but it really, really felt like a no. So an alternative, if we were to think of a way to shift this, if I wanted to say yes instead, and and really take out my own personal opinion, because that's really, when we break that sentence down, what am I actually saying? I'm saying I wouldn't want to pay more. I mean, we do, but it's not worth it, right? I don't have that kind of money to pay extra. It's all about me. That really had nothing to do with the customer. It was a response rooted in my own self-absorption, not on purpose, but that's what happened. So to alter that, if I think about the customer and I think about the facts and I think about the yeses, I can transition that phrase into, yeah, absolutely, I can get someone out there today. I also have availability during our regular business hours, tomorrow 8 to 5. How soon did you need somebody out? It's the same thing. And I might even add in, the only difference is pricing. How soon did you need somebody out? Right. And let them know what the expectation is, but also highlight and paint the picture of what yes options we have, instead of feeling like we're being dragged down by the no's or by the negatives. So let's just talk about what positive words are, what negative words are, and create a list even. In fact, I'm going to pull up a whiteboard and let's just add to it. Okay, I believe I'm waiting for it to load. Maybe I need to click on something. Can you guys see the whiteboard? Let me give it a thumbs up if you can see it. Is it not showing up yet? Okay, I'm gonna close it. Let's try it one more time.
Oh, we see it now.
You do see it now. Oh, well, let's see if I
Well,
can.
now we don't. It was-
Okay, this
and
is
then it was
fun.
Dan.
This is really fun for
Try it
us.
again. There we go.
You see it now? Okay, I can see it too. All right, that's a lot better.
Awesome.
All right, you will be able to write on this, just so you know. So if you're going to test it out, because I know it's tempting, go ahead and do it on the side or in the middle. That's fine. You can do that too. All right, I'm going to bring up my text here. I'm also going to quickly erase. My gosh, sometimes I am so special with this. All right. Okay. So let's talk about yes words. And to give you, to really know what a yes word is, let's think about what yes even represents. So that when we say yes, we're offering reassurance. And the definition of reassurance is removing someone's fears and doubts. That's what it means to reassure someone. Okay, so think, what kind of things can I say that will remove someone's fears and doubts? If I went to McDonald's right now and I was like, oh my gosh, I need food now and I need it to be under $5. I need help. Like, please help me, give me some food. All right, I already can see where this is going. We can help you with that. That's exactly what McDonald's should say, isn't it? Here's what I can do. Of course. Okay, sure thing. You guys are great. I'm reading some of these. What does this one say? You got it. You betcha. So cool. I don't know if that was a response to me or just writing out the letters, because it is also so cool. We take care of that all the time. I love that one. That's a really good one. All right. So these are our yes phrases. These are the phrases that remove people's fears and doubts. Okay. So it looks like we're all pretty comfortable with what a yes phrase is. So let's flip it. Let's clear. Actually, I wonder if I can just move this. Maybe not. Maybe. I wonder if I can clear it over here. Oh, look at me go. We're just testing stuff out and it's working. Okay, great. So now let's talk about no words. When you think of a no word, if saying yes is removing someone's fears and doubts, then saying no is going to cause them to fear and doubt more. Has anyone ever been excited to hear what comes after I'm new? Do you love that? Is that a very reassuring thing? No, it's really not. We don't love that generally. All right, someone else. I saw someone put it and then it was erased. I don't know where it went, but another really popular one is unfortunately. We don't love that. We don't love that. Nah, we don't have time today. Guys, you guys are really good at no's too. Nah, I love the nah. I think that really hit it home for me. I can get you to someone who does know. Okay, that seems like a positive. I love that. That's definitely a positive. I'm not sure how to do that. So you're saying you don't like it when someone says, I'm not sure how to do that. I have absolutely used the phrase, I'm not sure how to do that. And really it doesn't offer any kind of reassurance. Okay, let's read what else we've got. I don't usually answer the phone. That's a really good one. Let me see. Let me get someone else for you. Man, I feel like I was on that call. I feel like I've been on that call before. I love the What I can do is book this for you and check in with our service management team. That sounds like a yes to me. All right, let's all go. Let's highlight that one. Because this is highlighting what we're going to do instead of what we're not going to do. Okay? Oh, this is a really good negative. Well, that's not my job. That's definitely not something I would say inspires confidence or makes people excited to talk to you. I don't understand your issue and how we can help. So I want to break down phrases like I'm not sure how to do that. I can't do that. I don't know. Any kind of I don't know phrase. The perfect response is this one down here. The what I can do is I can book this for you and I'll talk to our service management team or I'll get you over to the manager. Right? That is a good example of how to focus on the yes and take out the negative. All right, let's think of another example, one that I've heard a lot. You guys tell me what to say instead. Okay, what if someone's calling in and the part isn't in yet and they're just checking in? Like, I just want to know where my part is it in yet? Okay, what we want to say is, unfortunately, it's not in yet, right? Those are some things I hear often. Let's see what else we got. Got one being written out right here. I have checked with our supplier and it's en route. As soon as it's on hand, we will be there. Beautiful. It will be in really soon. Okay, I like where that one's going too. Let me see if there's any others that are not. I can help you, but I can have someone call you. I can't help you, but I can have someone call you. Okay, let's highlight that one. If we wanted to turn a phrase like this, I can't help you, but I can have someone call you. If we wanted to turn that into a positive, what would we say instead? Maybe for this example, let's go up here. I don't want to miss anybody. I can check in with our supply house, and as soon as I have an update, I can call you back with the schedule. Scheduling time. Okay, I like that. Let me check with the service department and have someone call back ASAP to update you on the status. Love that. All right, these are really strong yes phrases. We're focusing on what we can do and not on what we can't do. All right, we're going to close the whiteboard now. And let's talk about more negatives. So how about the word but and however? Why would that be a negative? What do you guys think?
Because they're conditional words.
Totally. That's a great way to describe it. Simple. They're conditional words. Rarely do you hear someone using the phrase but or however, and it's two positives. Even if I did use, like, let's say I was like, oh man, I really want to go to New York. However, I also want to go to Mexico. Right? That sounds a lot different than I want to go to New York. I want to go to Mexico. One of them sounds like I've got this really tough decision to make. And the other one's like, oh my gosh, I'm about to have the year of my life. This is going to be great. So many good things standing out to us. Okay. So what else? Let's think of another example of a phrase, and then we'll start going into certain situations and we'll break down what to say instead. All right, we could talk. Let's go into the example of someone calling and they're asking for a service that we don't provide. All right, let's say maybe duct cleaning and you don't do duct cleaning. Or they're looking for a plumber and you just do HVAC. Shout it out or you can put it in the chat. How do we turn that conversation into a yes and focus on the yes?
We work really hard with other like local companies in our area because we're sort of a smaller business. So when we run into something that we don't do, we try to have a roster of recommendations. So we are very quick to say, you know, duct cleaning is out of our work scope. However, you know, you can reach out to this company. They're also local. You know, if you have any issues with your plumbing work, you know, please feel free to give us a call back. We're here 24/7, whenever. But we have a really good little network of other tradesmen that we all refer each other back and forth to.
I appreciate you pointing that out, Ash, because it's talking a lot about how, as a business, we can set our CSRs up for yes phrases. You know what I mean? If we didn't have that, it would be a lot harder to feel like you could say yes. And sometimes even debilitating when you're like, I can't say anything. It's always no. It's no, no, no. It's really hard to feel like you can progress in a positive conversation. I'm looking at the chats now because I want to make sure there's nothing I'm missing. Let's read. Bree said, we currently don't offer that service at this time. I recommend searching on Google, Angie, Yelp within your area. If you're in need of electrical or HVAC, we'd be more than happy to assist you. I really like that. I'm going to highlight a couple things. So, well, let's go through all three and then we'll do it.
We
Katie
don't like,
said,
so
oh,
for
go ahead, Bree.
example, for example, we don't directly give an actual recommendation directly to another company, because if you direct them to another company and then they have a poor experience with said company, then they
like,
come back to you and they're like, you told me to come here and now thanks a lot, they ruined XYZ or they sucked or whatever the case may be. So that's why we just direct them to back to like a search, because like, hey, maybe check in with Google, Angie, Yelp, or whatever, or sometimes like we might say like the Better Business Bureau or whatever the case may be, so that way they can research, and then we ask them to apply within their zip code, so that way they have a better time. And I would recommend like giving them keywords to search, being like, hey, we don't currently offer, you know, plumbing at this time, but if you look for plumbing services in, you know, the 53045 zip code, you should be able to find that through Google, Angie, or Yelp. And then, but hey, I'd be happy to assist you with electrical or HVAC if needed.
I love that. Okay, that sounds really good. Thank you so much. Kitty said you can recommend someone or even try to partner with them to subcontract it out so that you can get a kickback. I love that idea. That's awesome too. Marissa mentioned when it comes to giving out roster suggestions, has anyone been told not to do that by upper management? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to read Krista's response. I always provide 3 to 4 per trade and let the client know that these are just another contractor we have worked with in the past and been successful. However, please take the time to research these and determine which contractor would be best for you and your project. Ooh, I love that. I really love that. Okay, we currently don't offer that service at this time. I recommend searching on Google. Oh, we read that one already as well. Okay, so here's something I want to highlight that was common amongst most of the responses that we just heard. We all prefaced it with a negative at the beginning. Right? A lot of the conversations were, so we don't do that, but this is what you should go do. We don't offer that service, but this is who does. So my suggestion would be to take that last part out and focus on the solution based. And so, for instance, if it was outside of my service area, let's say, okay, and I'll just use local to me, I'm in Utah. So if I was telling somebody, I might say, we currently service 84009. If you're over there in 84088, this is what I would do. I would definitely go to Google, Angie's, or, you know, Yelp and search. I would really pay attention to those reviews because that says a lot about a company. And I would find someone in your area. If you're ever over here in 84095, I mean, hey, we'd love to help you. It'd be great. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Right. And so we're switching the conversation and it's the same thing. We're saying the same thing, but we're taking out just that little part where we had to highlight the negative. And no, what I also want to highlight is that almost every time we talked about it, the negative was the first thing that they heard. Right? It was immediate. It was right away. Unfortunately, we don't do that, or we don't service that, or we don't currently do that. So that's another thing to consider is if I am going to use a word that they don't love, I probably don't want it to be the first thing that they hear either. All right. So, and if for anyone that does service them maybe in a different capacity. So for instance, if it's HVAC and they're looking for a plumber, someone mentioned it somewhere, I could find it, or maybe it was just touched on, but that is a great opportunity to wrap up with a question that brings them back to what you do. So for instance, oh yeah, we partner with a plumbing company that does service the area. I can absolutely give you their information. Are you ready for that? Right, give them the information. Definitely give them a call, see if that's a good fit for you. We do HVAC services. Is there anything that you need help with in your home right now with your unit? Have you turned it on yet this year? And then just start that conversation. All right, once you've helped them, then we can move on to what we do and see if this is something that we can help with as well. And if not, that's okay. But our goal is always to build a relationship first and focus on that. All right, this is good. So let's do one more scenario. All right, this one is just a fun one. But if you can say yes to this, you can say yes to anything. Okay, you ready? Here we go. What if your customer called right now and they were like, hey, can you send someone out here in an ice cream truck? How do you say yes to that? What do you think? What idea? Let's brainstorm together. What ideas? And we can take ideas. If someone wants to start us, then we'll work it out and find the positive way. Unless we don't need
Did you
to.
say
Kitty
they
coming in
asked if
hot.
they could come in an ice cream truck?
Yeah, you've never been asked that, Angie? Just
No, but I think I would just like they're trying to be funny, so I would respond with humor, I think, in that case.
I love that.
Because if they're trying to be funny, I'll just dish it right back, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. No, so no, what about this? Let's just say they're not trying to be funny. Let's just say that this is a real question. They really want to know if you can get someone out here in a hot or in an ice cream truck. Or a hot air balloon is what I was gonna say. Whatever. Right, Kitty, I love what you said. You said, I can send someone out in a fully stocked truck to handle your HVAC needs. Let's go. Right? Why do you need anything else but that? That's perfect. Kim said, great suggestion for the future. Right now we have vans. Beautiful. I love it. Bree, our techs arrive in fully stocked vans. What favors are you looking for? I want to highlight that, Bree, because really powerful thing you did is you ended it with a question. Right? Saying this isn't negotiable. Let's talk about what you need now. This is what we do. This is not a negotiable conversation. Now let's move on. I love that you did that. Janelle's, what flavor of ice cream is your favorite? Janelle, that's exactly what I would be asking. Ice cream or ice cream? Ice cream. That's a really important question and a clarification that you made. Thank you so much. Kimberly said, I would love to do that. How much fun would that be? What is your favorite flavor? I love these. Okay, these are cute. And then said the tech with a gift card to Dairy Queen. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? That'd be so great. Just cherry on top, right? If it was a hot air balloon, send them out there with some balloons. Send them. I mean, we can make this super fun. Our trucks have all of our tools and not much room for ice cream. Yeah, that's true. But we would be happy to bring you some. I like that. So they would be like, our tools, our trucks have all of our tools in there. We would be happy to bring you some ice cream. We'll stop somewhere on the way. Right? That could be how we'd continue focusing on the positive. Marissa, when it comes to giving out roster, oh, I haven't read that one already. All right, guys, let's talk. Let's throw it back to you. What scenarios are hardest for you to have? What conversations, or maybe your team, or what scenarios could we talk through and brainstorm a positive way to have the conversation? Time restrictions is a huge one. Okay, this is one of my favorites too. Okay, so go ahead and just put these in the chat if you have more. Upset customers. Not available during business hours. All right, we're gonna start up at Bree, and I'm gonna do my best to get through all of them, and we'll talk about it. Okay, let's start with time restrictions. So tell me, what is the conversation currently around time restrictions? So if I said to you, do you guys usually ask what they want? Do you just start off with what you have? What's your current process, Bree?
So with like time restrictions, like we have time windows that we offer to customers. So it's either 8 to 12 or 12 to 5. But a customer is like, oh, that's too big of a window, or I only get off work at like 3:30 or whatever. So then they're not available within like those windows. Like, oh, I'll be home, but it'll be 5 o'clock. Well, we can't have our technician like hang out all day, just like kind of waiting for them to be available, especially like if they went through all their other calls and then there's like a 3 hour gap. So it's just kind of like hard sometimes to work within because it's like, well, I'm not taking off work. Well, it's kind of like asking like the bank to stay open for them. Like the bank hours are like 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever. But like so that our hours are similar to that. So having those struggles, so we kind of know like with them, like, hey, I can get you on the schedule between, 8 and 12. And if you have to drop off your kids and you'll be home by 9, I can note that you're available anytime after 10 or 9 or 9:30 or whatever the case may be. And we'll do our best to accommodate. So that way
Okay.
it's not promising them like, hey, I'm going to, whatever, but someone's going to be put in front of you. So then it might be a little bit delayed. But it's really like where we struggle is like the after hours where they're not more or less willing to take off of work for like the appointment.
And you don't offer any after hours appointment, it sounds like.
Correct.
Right at 5, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the technician, if they're still on site somewhere, they're not just like, well, it's 5 o'clock, peace
Yeah.
out, but
Bye.
they're not going to generally start an appointment at like 5:15 or 5:30 because we try and give them that good work-life balance.
Okay. I think that there are a lot of ways. Well, there's a couple things I would consider with this. I would consider the conversation happening before we ever start talking about scheduling. That's a really important part here because the way you lead up into that conversation will definitely set you up for success or not. There's a lot of negatives that happen from the time that we initially ask about availability, or at least potentially negatives that potentially could happen from the time we ask to the time that we bring our solution into play. All right. And the other thing I would consider would be let's assume they're asking for something that we cannot accommodate 100%. All right. So let's talk about that first. And then let's talk about the alternative. So if I could not accommodate it, they want after 5 o'clock. I will admit, Bree, you said it really well already. I really like the words that you're choosing. But if they can't come out until after 5, then I think it could be even as simple as our work hours are from if later in the day is best for you, our work hours are from 12 to 5 or arrival windows from 12 to 4:30. Maybe even let them know it's not going to be right at 5. 12 to 4:30. I'm happy to send someone out as late as they can in the day, close to that 4:30 time. What day could we make 4:30 work?
Yeah.
If later is better for you. So
We've
sometimes that's going to be the discussion. And I think it's very similar to what you were saying with the positives. Tell me what's on your mind. Let's talk about that first.
We also offer kind of like because obviously we want to help everybody as best as we can. So we also offer like floating appointments, saying like, hey, you know what? Typically, like that's a little bit later of a start, but what I can do is I can kind of float you from day to day, if you're okay with that, and that way. If we can accommodate that time restriction or those needs, we can always give you a call about like a half hour, whatever the time frame may be ahead of time to see if that day works for you. That way we're still kind of booking the appointment, but then they're floating. But usually 9 times out of 10, like we can't get there because like the tech's got to go home or whatever. Or we also try and say like, hey, is there an upcoming day that you have off or that you can leave work early or go into work later, and that way I can get you first thing in the morning too as well, and have you be like the first appointment.
Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, so 2 things that will set you up for success when having that conversation. The first big one is you don't want to have that conversation after you've already given them bad news. Right? So you don't want the first thing that you say to be, so right now I don't have that time, or we actually don't send someone out after 5. So we actually don't, right? I can't do that right now. I want to take out as many negative words as I can. And if I want to do that successfully, I have to take it back even one step further, and I need to ask them what they want instead of telling them what I already have. So I take that back to 2 steps. So first we're saying, what do you want? And they're going to tell you, I need someone out as soon as possible. I need someone out after 5 o'clock. Okay, and then that tells you right away if you're about to give this person good news or bad news. So you already know. You already know. But now that you know, that's so good because now you can word what you're about to say in a positive way and get rid of the negatives. So when it does come to scheduling, you can say, all right, I know you want someone at 5 o'clock. So I've got a couple of ways that I'm going to adjust the schedule so I can make this work if there's any way possible. First off, we've got a floating schedule, right? And this is how it benefits you. Or another option that I want you to consider is we could do a first appointment, meaning guarantee that's the one time when I can guarantee when the technician will be out to your home. So those are two options. And then maybe I end with, in order to do that, I'll schedule you for the next appointment that I have, which right now is tomorrow afternoon. And I'll put the note that later is better. And we will definitely give you a call 30 minutes ahead so you know exactly when they're coming out if you need to adjust things to become available. Our goal is to just get your air working as soon as possible. So then I've set myself up for success because I know what they want. I've highlighted that what they want because I don't want them. Okay, well I've got tomorrow. And that doesn't sound great. So I've got to say, okay, today, this is what I'm going to do everything possible to get you today. For now, let's do tomorrow. And it's acknowledging what they want first, right there up front, taking out the negatives. But we're not going to have as many opportunities to do that if we don't know what they're looking for before we ever offer it. So that's how I would take it back. And I would start with the positive. I would get rid of the negatives. So tell me, Bree, what your thoughts are. Is there anything on top of that we want to cover, or maybe some issues that you feel we'd run into? Let's talk more about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that works, and I kind of feel like we do that in a sense in our process of just kind of saying like, hey, we typically like if we go over scheduling options, we offer like a priority scheduling option, and then we offer like a single visit standby option, and based on we don't give them any scheduling dates and times yet until they kind of give us the answer of do you want the priority scheduling, which is like that VIP front of the line kind of option, or do you want the single visit standby? And then if they're like, oh, I just want like the cheap one, or like the standby is fine, or whatever
Yeah.
the case may be, we then kind of say, okay, no problem. We can definitely get you set for that. I have our next available as X, Y, and Z. Like I'll say like, okay, I have my next available tomorrow between 8 and 12. How does that work? Or how does that work for you? And if they'll say no, I'll be like, okay, I also have, Friday, I have 8 to 12 as well. And I kind of give them their openings. And then if they go, no, do you have anything in the afternoon? I can then say like, yeah, I have next week, Monday between, 12 and 5, if that works. Do you have any time restrictions to note for the technician? And if they're like, well, I'm actually not home until 3 o'clock and from work, and then that's kind of when we generally say like, okay, typically our last appointment starts around 2 to give the technicians enough time to complete the appointment, and if they have to go to any like supply houses or things like that. But what I can do is I can note this time restriction, and we can do our best to accommodate that for you. How does that sound?
Okay, I like that. I think there's a lot of good there, a lot of positives. I think that you're doing the best thing. And with the 12 to 2, so you guys frame it as the time frame is from 12 to 5, but we don't send people out except for from 12 to 2 generally.
So it's like 12 to 5 for the most part, because we don't promise necessarily like a time because it just depends on their previous appointment. So we try and have the last
Totally.
appointment start around like 2:30-ish. So that way, like if the supply house closes at 4, they can start on the appointment, get going, and then, hey, I don't have this on my truck. I can go to the supply house quick. But not saying that we don't ever have an appointment start at like 3:30. We just
Right.
try to avoid it. And honestly, it depends on where we're at in the season. Like if it's busy season and they're running hot to trot, call, then yeah, they might start
Right.
a little later. Now, if it's like slower season and like they finish their last call at like 12:30, we're not also going to have them hang out until like 3 o'clock, if that
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
then what happens in that case? Do we call and reschedule? Do we let them know we could do it today, or we can reschedule you?
Yeah, we typically try and say like, "Hey, I have a technician that's available a little bit sooner. Are you available?" If not, like we'll kind of keep you up to date on their travel, and then almost like we say like, "Hey, we're gonna reroute him," and then touch base later, and then let them know like, "Hey, we do have to reschedule."
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So I think there's lots of positives. Yeah, Kimberly, why don't you go? You're muted right
So,
now. Yeah, go for it.
I'm not muted now. I'm going to move this so I'm looking at you guys. So I'm used to working with a lot of high net worth individuals, and they really value their time. And often people would ask me, can you be there at 3? Like they just have a specific window that they can work in. And so you had touched on this a little bit about offering a concierge level of service. And so I say to people, yes, we'd be happy to do that. We have a VIP scheduling option, and there's a premium of X dollars associated with that. So if you do have a tech that needs to be on standby for a couple of hours, that tech is being compensated, and the customer has a choice of whether they want to accept that level of service or not, and or they could be rolled into other ones, but at least let them have the option and let them make the decision about how they want to spend their money. To us, if you're dealing with high net worth individuals, $300 is like an appetizer at a restaurant. It's not the same. $300, it's a bottle of wine. It's not the same as it would be to us. So we can't be making other decisions for other people's money, and we should be able to present them options and let them say no.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. I would say we do that. It's just when they struggle, when they decline the higher option and they just want the standby, whether it's because it's their budget or they just don't want to pay for it or whatever their excuse is. It's when they
Mhm.
say like, no, I'll just do the 59, and then it's the struggle of then being like, okay, let me try and accommodate your time restrictions, when like it's kind of like that give and take. Like, I'm trying to work with you, but you got to work with me a little bit. Like, if you don't want to do the VIP option, then you're gonna kind of have to work with the floating or the chance of rescheduling. It's kind of trying to find that happy balance.
So when you say VIP option, is that the maintenance agreement that we're talking about, or is this completely different, almost like after hours
So
price?
yeah, we don't have like an after hours. So the VIP option, it does include maintenance as a benefit. It's like with us, it's like 199. So they get priority scheduling, which either allows them to have like same or next day, or if they wanted to like guarantee their spot on the schedule, like if they wanted to schedule, let's say 2 weeks out. And then it includes other benefits of like an electrical maintenance, an AC, furnace maintenance. It includes their like that as their first dispatch. And then they also get bonus pricing that lasts them for like a year. So it's a really great value, versus just paying the single visit of the standby option of our normal dispatch of 59. So they can kind of do one or the other. And then if they do that front of the line option or that VIP option for that 199, like we're getting to you. Like if we have to bump somebody else on our schedule that just wanted that 59, like we're gonna do that to get to you. So, but
Yeah.
if they just want that 59 option and then they have those time restrictions, it's kind of hard to being like, well, to get out there after 3 and like the guy's done at like 2, to have a technician hang out for like an hour or 2, sometimes 3, depending on how late the customer's requesting for. That's where it's the struggle.
Yeah. So another thought is you could also, another idea would be to talk to, of course, we preface it with, when did you want us out? I need someone today, right? You kind of read into the urgency in their tone. And then I would jump into verifying whatever necessary information I need to kind of get an idea of what they're looking for, address, all that good stuff. And then at that point, you could let them know that you could guarantee the appointment for the same day, right? And I would highlight that instead of highlighting price differential. So like I can guarantee to get someone out to you today, even if it's a same day guaranteed. And through this option, it's our VIP option. You're also going to get maintenances throughout the next year. We're going to make sure your tune-ups throughout the next year. You also get, a percentage off if you decide to go forward with the work. It's easily the best value that we offer. Do you want to reserve that time for this afternoon so that you have that VIP? And then if they ask what's the price, then go, then at that point you would have the discussion about the price. Otherwise, you would then say, okay, let me break down price and tell you how that would work. And you invite the value. You say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what's included. And for all of that, it's only $199. If you wanted to do the one time, or if you wanted to do, and then I would break down the floating time, or, the alternative. I can't remember the word you guys called it. What was the other one? A standard?
Yeah, just like a standard,
Okay.
like a
If you
single
wanted,
visit standby.
yeah, if you wanted to do, okay, then there's two options here as well. You
And
can
Tatiana,
offer it to
just
them,
to
give
be
the
mindful of
price.
time, we have about 4 or 5 minutes, and I know some people still want to get the pricing one. So
Oh, okay. I thought we were ending at in 15 minutes. No, we've got 5.
yeah, we've got 5 because we have a video from Brigham that we're going to show and a couple of announcements.
Okay. All right, great. Then we'll wrap this one up and then we'll move on to pricing.
Okay,
But this is
awesome.
good. I would just say you could offer the time and then have the conversation, right? Like I can guarantee today that if they're like, no, that doesn't work, that's when you would negotiate further. So it would be, all right, well, if price is the main concern, why don't we put you on a one-time service, and that would bring it down to only $59. And then next available for that is this date. Right. And then I would have almost as if it's a negotiation tool instead of the original solution, assuming the customer was urgent right there in that initial visit or in that
Okay.
initial conversation. I think you're wording things so positively, Bree. Everything that
Okay.
you've worded, I'm like, wow, I love that. Yeah, say it like that. Like that sounds really good. So
Okay.
I don't overthink it. Sometimes people just hear the options and they don't love it. You
Yeah.
know, and that's separate from what you're doing. If you have positive words, then lean into that. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Appreciate your guys' patience. Let's go into, I see upset customers. I also see price complaints. Yeah, it looks like most people are mentioning price. All right, let's talk about it. So when you guys are saying you don't want to say no, in what instance are you saying no about price? Like, no, you can't give it. Is that what you mean? Seeing some nodding. Is anyone experiencing something different than that?
Issue that I run into is pricing over the phone. We get a lot of pushback because we don't offer pricing over the phone.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about it. So what are you currently saying to a customer? Is someone willing to share? If a customer asks for price, what do you say right now?
We
We
let
say
the-
it.
oh.
I always say it's the technician. They're the experts, and they'll give you the pricing.
Okay. The technician is the expert. They will give you the pricing. That to me sounds positive. We've got a lot of positive words. What do you hear as a response to that typically?
A lot of times they still want to go ahead with the price, but I just try and get them booked and get them on the board and just let them know
Okay.
they'll be out there and answer any questions. And then that way they get to know our company and our technicians and feel
Okay, I love
comfortable
that.
with us.
All right, I love that. So those are positives. I would definitely want to get them on the schedule. That's the direction I'd be headed. Ash, why don't you go ahead and elaborate what you were saying earlier too?
So ours is similar. We always start by saying that we offer free estimates. So that's I can absolutely get you on the schedule today. We do offer free estimates. Unfortunately, I can't offer you any pricing because our technicians are the expert. Every job is different. Every work site is different. And our technicians are the ones who have the knowledge to price that appropriately. They can go over and they will go over all of the work with you before they do anything. If you are happy with the price, there's a very good chance we can get it done the same day. If you're not, they go right on about their business, then you can call us, at your convenience. Is really where we go with that.
Okay, I love that. So I'm gonna give 3 tips for handling price shoppers. 3 tips right out the gate, just to help with the time that we have. First off, if someone asks about price, my goal is always to build a relationship with them first. And even by relationship, I also mean understanding. So build an understanding, a relationship first, and get them on the schedule, right? I'm always going to try to do those 2 things before I give them price. So sometimes that does mean I'm going to redirect the conversation, right? They don't always let me redirect for very long, and that's okay. But if I'm leading the call, that's going to be way more successful. So my first tip for this call is always build a relationship first, understand the problem first. Don't jump right into price, even if it's a free estimate. Even if it's a free estimate. My second tip is don't take it personally. And this is what I mean. They're going to ask a lot about price, and you can expect it, right? When they ask about price, that is not surprising. You've had that happen over and over and over again. So when it happens, just recognize that that's a normal question and respond with positivity, and don't in your tone show that you're getting defensive or that you're getting frustrated by the question. That doesn't help anyone at all. And I would go back and even listen to your calls to see what your tone sounds like so you can have a good idea if that's something that you potentially do, right? And just have as positive as a tone as you can, even when you're not giving them the information that they want. All right, I love the build value that was talked about. I don't know if that was Sherry that mentioned it. I know it's under Sherry's profile, but you mentioned how, okay, yeah, like I don't know which one's Sherry, but hello. So it is
Cam.
okay. What's her name?
Cam.
Kim. Hi, Kim. Nice to meet you, Kim.
Hi.
Okay, I love it. And you talked about awesome value that you build instead, right? And Ash brought it up too. She said, when I give the price, this is what I say. Then I would build that value without negatives. So it's not unfortunate that we can't give the price. It's not even a negative. Them asking for price is like them asking how much it costs, how much a red car costs. We know that that's such a broad question. I can't actually answer it. So don't linger so much on that question that we derail the important parts. We want to make sure we're highlighting why we do it the way that we do instead of giving it like it's bad news. Okay, so first, always make sure you build a relationship and an understanding before you give the price. Second, take out the negatives and replace it with value. And then third, and this is probably the number one tip I will give you, is make sure after you offer value, you're ending with a question. Because if you end it on a statement, they're going to think it's negotiable and you're going to go around and around and around and just spiral downwards. For instance, if they're like, how much do you charge? I just want a ballpark. Can't you just give me a ballpark? And if we say something like, unfortunately, I can't give you a ballpark. It's our policy to have someone out there. These guys are great at what they do. They'll take good care of you, but I would have to get someone out. Right? If I just stop there, they're going to say, well, I just want a ballpark, right? Now it's their invitation to continue to push back. So my suggestion would always be to, if I take out those negatives, it would sound like, yeah, that's right. We do always give a ballpark price, or excuse me, we don't give a ballpark price. What I was going to say is we do always give you down to the penny pricing on site with the technician. We do that because we know how different every home is, and these guys are great at what they do. They'll make sure that all of your questions are answered so you feel confident by the time they come out there. Did you have a specific day that would work for you, or are you just looking for the soonest available? Right, and I'm moving on into what is negotiable. Let's start talking about time instead. Right, and if they bring it back, one, it's going to take a lot more effort for them to bring it back, but also now I'm giving them direction and letting them know that this isn't something that we need to keep talking about. We've answered all the questions. We've answered the exact question that you're asking, and I don't want to spiral. So let's just keep moving. So those are my 3 tips for handling price shoppers. And we can do that while using yes words, right? The big example with that, as far as saying yes when we feel like we have to say no, would be take out the negatives. Don't talk about coming out giving a ballpark like it's bad news. It's always good news. This is a good thing. Because if we did that, we wouldn't be as reputable if we just gave everyone a price or a guess over the phone. All right, timing wise, where are we at, Angie? We want to play the video? Is that okay?
About there. Is there anything you wanted
Okay.
to finish off with before we share this video?
I feel like I've covered everything that I was going to talk about with those 2 topics. So if you guys wanted to reach back out to me, if you have any other questions, my email is Tatiana@powersellingpros.com. And I love brainstorming stuff like this. So we could just keep talking about it. Obviously, I could keep talking about it. So let me know, and I will turn it over to you. Thank you guys for your time.
Yes, if you want to put your email in the chat, that way they can copy it so they have a copy of that. We also have a couple of announcements. Our next Lady Titans Lounge is going to be November 13th, so next month. And I've got all the links right here that you need for all of the Lady Titans lounges. Our next Spotlight series is going to be November 19th, so we hope you'll join us there. And I did want to share this one video with you. This is Brigham with Power Selling Pros, and he has a special message for you. So I need to make sure that I am sharing my sound. Okay, perfect. And can you see the video?
Hey, Lady Titans, it's Brigham with Power Selling Pros. We're excited about the opportunity to support you and support your group. As you know, Power Selling Pros train CSRs one-on-one twice a month using their own phone calls. We change cultures. We reduce CSR turnover. And of course, we help business owners make a whole lot of money. So be thinking about us as we appreciate and are grateful for the opportunity to support you. Go Lady Titans.
Now I feel like we need a team, like a Lady Titans team or something. That was, yeah, awesome. And as you can tell, with Tatiana as one of their coaches, they do amazing work. So Tatiana, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for that very valuable information and helping us realize the importance of that yes attitude. And yes, we can help. I think that's one way, just the language, those simple words, we can sabotage our own phone calls just by some of the language that we use. So super, super impactful, really, really important. Any last minute questions with our last minute that we have as a group? All right, big round of applause for Tatiana and her amazing training today. Thank you so much. We really
Thank
appreciate
you
you being.
guys. Sorry, thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. It was fun.